Hey guys, let's talk about the Kershaw Link. Picked one of these up, I think for around $36, $37. Had it for a little bit now and finally decided to review it. Let's go over the numbers first. This is a 3¼ inch blade, 7.6 inch overall length, 4.3 ounces in weight. It's pretty heavy with aluminum handle scale, stone wash finish. Comes with the Kershaw Speed Assist, spring assisted opening, liner lock with stainless steel liners, and that's pretty much it, except for the lanyard hole closed construction. Very simple, kind of a nice design to it. Made in USA, by the way, and 420 HC steel. So those are the numbers. We're gonna talk about fit finish first. Overall fit and finish is really good, what you would expect of a USA made Kershaw. It's a very smooth operation. For such a big knife, it actually opens quite smoothly and has a lot of power to it. The spring is definitely very appropriately strength. See, it snaps right open, no problem, closes easily, one-handed. Everything seems to fit well. The finish is nice, no issues with it. Came pretty sharp out of the box, not amazing, but definitely worthwhile. The stone wash finish is, I like them. A lot of guys don't. You hear a lot of knife guys who say they do not like it. They say it can encourage rust because you have those little tiny scratches all over. Doesn't bother me. I think it looks nice and it kind of covers up any little dings or dent you put into it, so it doesn't bother me the slightest little bit. So what you expect out of a USA made Kershaw. Nothing absolutely fantastic, but at the same time, nothing alarming. You see it has this very interesting blade shape with a little bit of a kind of a recurve to it, and we'll get to that shortly. The pocket clip is fairly deep, deep enough for pretty comfortable pocket carry, and is strong enough where it's not an issue. So that isn't anything to worry about. Now, performance. I've been trying to come up with a benchmark for knives as to how to rank performance. So what I've kind of come up with is seeing how many linear feet of cardboard this can cut. So what I've been doing is taking pieces of cardboard and cutting them to 1 foot in length and then slicing them into little strips like what you see here. And what this does is allows me to count the linear feet of cardboard that this thing can cut before it loses, that hair shaving and paper slicing edge. And that's kind of the standard is I check it every 10, and if it can't shave hair and it can't cut paper cleanly, that's what I call the number. So I was able to make 50 of these 1 foot strips, so I was able to get 50 linear feet of cutting before this lost its edge. Now it still had a very good working edge. It still was able to cut cardboard, still able to cut paracord, so I don't think it was dull. It just lost that razor edge at about 50, which is pretty impressive because my benchmarks, which two of the knives that I tested today as well, was the Spyderco Native 5 in S35VN, which got 60, which very, very close. And I tested the Rat 2 Knife Work Special in D2 steel, and that got a little over 70. So this actually was able to perform at about 3/4 of what those high-end knives actually were able to do. So very impressive there, especially seeing this is 420 HC. It's a high carbon stainless. It's very tough for a stainless steel. Kind of reacts a little bit more like carbon steel, but still has that stainless. But it's not the best edge retention of steels on earth. So I was a little leery buying it because of the steel, but it did perform pretty well. I'm actually pretty impressed that I was able to get 50 linear feet when S35VN was only able to get 60, so very happy there. My only complaint is difficulty to sharpen. Now 420 HC is actually a steel that's supposed to be very easy to sharpen and takes a very good edge. I had a bit of a problem because of this ever so slight recurve of the blade and the shape of the handle. So what I found was sharpening that 90 degrees kind of puts you in the way. So you're actually losing a little bit of that edge there. So you have to kind of angle it when you're sharpening if you want to get all the way down to that edge. Plus two, because there is that strong belly on the blade, you have to sharpen it kind of piecemeal. You have to sharpen it kind of from here to here, sharpen it from here to here, and then sharpen it. I just was not able to make a strong enough swooping motion to cover the entire edge in the space of my stone. So it did take a little extra work. It was not the quick couple-minute job I expected it to be. It actually was something I had to kind of piecemeal and then go back and really kind of clean it up, because everything wasn't perfect when I was done. So I did want to point that if you are a hand sharpener and you do it by hand on stones, this is going to be a slight challenge for you. The steel is very forgiving, very easy to work with, but like I said, you kind of have to start out at this angle and then kind of work, you know, especially if you're cutting into it, you kind of have to work your way around and do that, because it is such a strong belly, and that little tiniest bit of recurve there does make it a hair difficult. Now, one of the things I did find when I was resharpening this, which has actually been sharpened a couple times now because I've been using it very heavily, is that the edge from the factory was not very good. It was sharp, you know, I brought it home and it shaved hair, you know, which is great, but what I ended up doing was taking a Sharpie marker and then sharpening it a couple of times, and what I found was there was definitely some peaks and valleys as far as the edge was concerned. So I did note that, and it did take a good handful of sharpenings before I was able to cleanly take off the marker by just sharpening, because what I kind of found was that it was definitely some highs and low spots on the blade, which, you know, like I said, it's not the end of the world. It was still sharp when I got it, but it did take a couple of good sharpening sessions to get rid of that, and that's fine with me. You know, knives are meant to be used, and something like this in this price range, you can't always expect it to be 100% perfect, but in this night, I did want to point out it did make it challenging, because I did have to, number one, kind of do the extra work to get it into that condition so that it would get back to hair shaving sharp, and then you know, it was a little bit of a challenge. We're going to get this fillet out of the way and just kind of show you, after doing all that, it, you know, you can see it, well, cut very fine pieces of cardboard. It went back to sharp, very easy, by hand. This is, like I said, it's going to be a little bit more of a challenge if you are a hand sharpener, but it's not the end of the world. But overall, for the price, if you want a decent USA-made knife that's not one of the Chinese alphabet steels, this is a fairly decent option, with the caveat that it is going to be slightly, not much, guys, I'm not complaining. It's just, like I said, you're going to have to do a little extra work to get that tiny bit of recurve, to get it to sharpen and get everything to come out just right. But overall, I like the stonewash finish. I think it's a really smooth operating knife. It's very sturdy. It's got a very strong lockup, no wiggle in any direction, and it's a decent steel. I was a little worried about the 420 not being able to hold the edge, but it actually did a very good job, and I'm very impressed with it, because I've never owned a 420 HC before, so I was a little leery, but this actually worked out very good, and very happy with it.